Hey guys, we're just going to preface this episode that this is part 2 of the Screen Break series. Last episode aired last Wednesday on the 4th, and we are coming at you. It's going to kind of start in the middle of a conversation, probably,
So
for
now
this
we're
week's
really
episode.
talking to the future,
We're either talking to the future, the present, or the past. I don't know.
but should be fun. And so my mom, again, she passed away in the fall of 2020. My son was born in the fall of 2019. My mom only, because my parents live in Germany, my mom only met my son one time when he was 2 months old. One time. And then
Hmm.
my mom got really sick and there was COVID lockdown. My son was, when I went back to Germany, my son had just turned a year old. So he and I, because of all the borders closed and restrictions and stuff, I was able to get to Germany because my mom she wasn't going to make it. So
Hmm.
he and I went, but he never, except for that one time that my mom came to visit here when he was 2 months old, he's never met my mom. Never. But I don't know how old he was, maybe 18 months, 2 years old, whatever. He was lying on our bed. I was changing his diaper, I think. And it's just him and me at home. And he starts waving towards my bedroom door, which is just right there, like
Hmm.
just waving. And I'm like, who are you waving to? And he goes, Omi, which is the German nickname for grandma, which is
Hmm.
my dad is Opie to my kids. And my mom was Omi to my kids. And he just goes Omi. And it's like, okay, that's weird. So by then she had been dead, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, something like that. And he'd only ever met her one time. And it was the weirdest, creepiest, also like saddest and most wonderful thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother tells me he feels her around all the time. My brother is more into that spiritual stuff. I'm always like,
Hmm.
I don't feel like she visits me. Once in a while, I'll dream of her. Once in a rare while. And those dreams always feel so real.
Yeah. Very vivid. Yeah.
Yes. And I usually wake up sobbing, but just
Hmm.
weird little things. I remember going on, but there was a dream I had shortly after she passed where she and we were in the car. And again, I had my son in my arms who was little then. And she turned around in the car and she told me my son was cold. He's like, Apollo is cold. And I woke up
Hmm.
and he had kicked his little blanket off because my kids too sleep with blankets. And it was cold in that house and he felt cold. So it was really weird.
Interesting. That actually leads me to another experience that I had. So Devin's mom passed away a week before Daniel was born.
Oh,
Um, she had a very, very long struggle with breast
yeah.
cancer. And so I'm giving birth to Daniel. I'm in full-blown labor. We're in our bed. I'm pushing. And while the labor was short, in our previous podcast, I think I said it was like four
Probably
hours or something like that.
intense. God.
Yeah, so it was really intense, and I was getting to the point of exhaustion. And they were like, "You need to get him out. Like, you need to continue pushing. You need to get him out. His heart rate is dropping." And I was like, "Okay, well, I have nothing else in the tank." And then my contraction ended. I stopped pushing, and I felt like I passed out. And I like felt these like arms around me because Devin was on my side, and I felt these arms around me and I might get emotional. Okay. It's gonna be okay.
Gonna be okay. Our book podcast.
Yeah, so I felt these arms around me and I just literally said out loud, I'm like, I have nothing left. Like I have nothing. And I heard his mom be like, one more push, you've got it. You can do it. And I felt this like energy transfer and I did one big push and Daniel came out. And even the midwives were like, where did that come from? Like you had nothing in your tank. You were on empty. That was the hardest push you've done all labor. And it was like she, from the afterlife, handed me my son.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was like,
you know what?
I'm gonna use this sock to wipe my eyes.
I think that
My laundry's on the table.
labor and pregnancy is interesting that way because I do wholeheartedly believe, I know something weird happens to our bodies because it's an
Mhm.
intense pain and experience that no man you cannot, there is no way to
Yeah.
describe it. And anybody who's like, don't be such a wuss, like, you don't understand what
Mhm.
labor does. And it's not just like pain in your stomach, it's your whole body and your brain, I think, to compensate, because it's the type of pain they say it's equivalent to breaking 26 bones in your body at the same time, right? I mean, it's
Oh, wow.
excruciating pain.
Yeah.
And I think to compensate, because it's enough technically, that amount of pain, that amount of energy to kill you, but your body
Yeah.
compensates for that. And I think as part of that, it creates these hormones. It almost puts you in a weird,
Trance.
yes, exactly.
Or like spiritual
Yes,
realm,
which is
almost.
why I think we forget how horrendous it is and to procreate
Yep.
more, right? Because otherwise, like
Yep.
any human, you do this one time, it's insane. You would never want to expose yourself to that kind of pain ever again, ever again.
Never.
And yet
Yeah.
we do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, whatever, right? And because your
Yeah.
brain like puts you in this weird like trance. I think you're right, because I remember very little. Like I remember, but I don't remember. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised at all, like, again, if you believe in this type of stuff, if there's some weird realm. I don't know.
Yeah, like somewhere you get transported to, because like, yeah, I just, and it was just so strange because she never met
Yeah.
him, right? So it was just
Or you
like
tug, like you,
she was the one,
yeah,
like from, because he's not dead, he's not
yeah,
gone, he's here, he's coming out, but she walked with him to hand him to
yeah,
me, kind of thing. So like,
yeah.
I don't know, this is a very weird direction for our
It
podcast,
is. Like,
but
so you're like, yeah. Okay, what do you want to get back to? It's a great story, though.
no, I think it's interesting because I think these are thoughts people have, and they just don't have someone to sit down, I guess, talk to it about. But I hope that you guys are like still listening, because if you guys have phased out and you're gone, that's
Your
totally fine.
coworker's gonna
We're
message
not
you.
gonna do these.
Be like, Tyler, this one, not
Yes,
so much.
yeah. My coworker, hi Brent. He
Hi.
listens to all of our podcasts while he's working, and yeah, I guess you learned that about me.
It's
um,
a good story. That's so good.
But yeah, no, I think that it's fun to sit down and just have conversations. And like, it's so interesting because if we think about where we started at the beginning of this podcast and like where we are
Uh-huh.
now, and it's such a natural just
Yep.
progression. Like, we could literally talk for like four
We could,
hours.
which is why we message
So
each other like 1,000 times a day.
we literally talk
All
all
day.
day, every day. And it's always voice notes because both of us, one, I can't type fast enough and I can't be bothered
No, same.
because the amount of typos.
Same, same. And people must wonder, they see my text messages sometimes, they're like, she's a writer, because I just text and then I send. I don't proofread my texts, which has gotten me into
Me
trouble
neither.
before, right? Pubic versus public type stuff.
Yeah, I had a really bad one. I was in,
Oh,
this
the
is so
boobs?
bad.
Didn't you say
I'm
something
really
about
glad that
butts?
there was no
Butts?
monitoring of our chats.
Dobuts?
Pardon?
Was it dobuts?
It wasn't Dobuts. It was way worse than Dobuts. I was trying to type something with the word bigger, and it wasn't a B that I used, and it went out to my whole service desk. What's right beside a B on your keyboard there, JB?
Oh no! Am I gonna have to lunch?
Very bad.
Oh my!
Yep.
Did you get called into HR? Phishing! Spam!
Spam. No, I didn't. Luckily there was no transcribing back then or like monitoring of our chat, and I typed like 17 different things after and then just hit enter so that it was just gone in the chat and people wouldn't like scroll back to see what happened. But a couple of them caught it. One of my coworkers messaged me and was like, "Well, that was a slip up," and I'm like, "Literally, have no idea what you're talking about," and nothing happened. But it was really bad.
Oh my gosh.
Why did they put those two letters together on the keyboard? I don't know, but I'm very careful when I'm typing anything close to that
Oh
word.
my god.
Actually, so I have your wonderful husband sent a couple of things to ask in the podcast or like just talk about in the podcast.
Mhm.
And I wanted to bring some of them up. Was it in our Little Prince chat or was it in
I
my
think it was on
own
your own. I think
personal?
because he showed it to me. He's like, "This is what I sent to Tyler."
No, I've got it here in Little
Yeah.
Prince. Okay. He has a very good question, and I think that this would be fun because we're going back a little bit bookish. But he had a question. What book would you love to see turned into a movie slash TV series? And I think we should do one indie and we should do one traditional
That'd be good.
each.
I like
Yeah,
that. Do you want to go first?
sure.
Let's talk trad.
I would love to see.
Let's talk
Huh?
trad.
Okay, trad first. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, I had one off the top of my head for
Nope,
indie,
I left
but
you
okay, we'll
indie.
go for trad. Nope, you put me in a box.
Sorry.
I think, okay, so it's so recent, but
Yeah.
Phantasma that I just finished reading the other day, that would make an incredible TV series, I think. I think that if you put all of that in a movie, you would miss so
Mhm.
much. But I think if it was, it would be very Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I've never actually seen that TV
You have
show, but
to.
I've heard
Oh, it's
things. No,
fantastic.
I've heard things that makes me go, my brain, I can't watch things that I can't watch and or read things that are too much for my brain because I have a very overactive imagination when I sleep. And sometimes I can see things like if I'm dreaming about a 25-foot python and I wake up, but I'm not awake, I'm still dreaming, I can see that
That's
in my
just
room.
Devin.
Hey, this is Editing Tyler. If you guys are not on video, I am in my kitchen doing some editing, and I just missed the funniest joke from JV when she mentions that that the 25-foot python is just Devin. Oh, first of all, nice. Second of all, I'm so mad that I missed it in the podcast, but I just wanted to come in here and be like, caught it. Good one, JV.
Which is why I've never watched um Last of Us because it was recorded in my town. Like parts of it was recorded in my
Really?
town. I don't need to put zombies in my area code or
But
my
there are no
postal code.
zombies in Black
No, thank
Mirror.
you. No, not Black Mirror, in Last of Us.
Right. No, I know that.
With Pedro Pascal. There was a lot of it that was recorded in Calgary and surrounding area.
Cool.
So I don't need to put zombies in my postal code.
I get that.
I don't need to
Zombies,
do
I don't like either. But Black Mirror is not like, it's not a scary show.
No?
It's not scary.
Is it psychological?
No, I mean, it's not like psych thriller. I think it's very futuristic. And I think it poses a lot of good, really, really good ethical questions. I think it's a fantastic show. I don't like scary either because I will get nightmares and stuff. So but I can wholeheartedly recommend Black Mirror. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Okay. So I feel like the book would lend to a very good TV
Phantasma.
series, but it has to be
Really
done
well.
very
Yeah.
well. Very well. It has to it literally has to be page by page from
Yeah.
the book. And I think you should pick up Phantasma because I think you would really
I
enjoy
want
it.
to. Man, my TBR is so long. I don't get around to reading enough. It drives me bonkers.
It wasn't even on my May TBR. I went to my husband and I said, choose a
Yeah.
book. And he chose that one. And I was like, I told him yesterday, I was like, you did a fantastic
Can I
job
ask you a
on
question?
this book.
So I think
Yeah.
a big problem for me too with picking up new books is I hate the first few chapters of a book, especially if it's
Yeah.
a brand like a first in a series or just a standalone, because it feels a little bit like dating. Like you have to get to know someone, and I don't want to invest the time to get to know someone, which is why I love book 2 and 3 in a series. Like I'm familiar with the characters. I know how they
Yeah.
take. I hate those first few chapters because I'm like, what am I getting into? Am I gonna like this? It feels like work.
It does. And I think that as a reader, you can kind of gauge within the first 20 pages if you're going to be feeling the book. I know a lot of people give it a lot more for a
Yeah.
DNF, but like personally, if I'm reading a book and I'm like 20 pages in and I'm like, you know, I'm not feeling it, I'll know that I won't like, I think that I'll not like the rest of the
Yeah.
book, you know? But I like the beginnings of
Really?
books. I think that it's a chance to learn something new. Like I read a lot of fantasies in May. I think I read 4 or 5 fantasies specifically. And while every story was different, No, every story was different, so there really isn't like any similarities, but I really like the getting into learning about the characters. I personally don't like the world
Uh,
building, but I like learning about the
yeah,
characters, I
yeah,
guess.
that makes sense. The world, yeah, it has to be really well done. Like it has to be really gripping, I think, to
Yeah.
like
Okay.
pull you along.
What is your traditional choice?
Let's see. So there was a book series that pulled me out of a big reading slump last year. It's by Mia Sheridan. I think she started out indie and she's publishing through Bloom now. But so it was a two-book duology. Book one was Becoming Calder, and then book two was Finding Eden. And
I've heard of
oh,
those.
so good. Would love to see that made. I think that they would lend themselves well for a movie rather than a TV series.
Mhm.
But oh yeah, I loved that one. Loved it. Yeah.
I've heard really good things about those books,
Yes.
actually.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I'm trying to think. There's so many good indie books, and obviously yours would make a fantastic
I would
TV
vote mine.
show. Like it would be, yeah. We can't vote yours, but I mean, like, I think I think that yours would make a fantastic. Like it's giving like that. What's that 70s show? But like obviously more with more mature
Way
subject
darker.
matter. But I feel,
Yeah.
yeah, way darker. But I feel like it would make like you couldn't put that in a movie. Like
Too much.
there's too
Yeah.
much. It would need to be a TV show and it would need to be multiple series
Agree.
long. Like it's giving what's that TV show with Zendaya? I haven't watched it, but
Oh my gosh. Yes, the one that was on HBO, right?
yeah,
y- uh,
the one with the
yeah.
wieners.
Oh, it starts with E. My God, why can't I think of it right now? Euphoria.
All, before I was like all of our listeners are screaming at us right
Yeah.
now.
Yes. You know what? And I've actually heard that before. I've heard that from my
Interesting.
editor. Yeah.
Okay.
She was like, and she's
So I'm not
you're
off
not off
base.
base. And she's like, one character in particular in my book series was actually a side character. She's like, this person, every time I read about her, I think of this particular side character in Euphoria. And I'm like, huh, interesting.
Oh.
I think I watched like half of the first episode, but yeah, and that touches on darker subjects too. Here's a great show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is why I think it'd be more. I think that 70s show is a little bit too
Yeah.
floofy, but Euphoria, I feel like would be very similar to what you would get
Yeah.
with Tiny Fractures and Edge of Unbroken and whatever the next one's going to be. I was trying to guess the title. I was
What
like
was your
looking at it
guess?
and I'm like,
Because I know I dropped a little
um,
hinty hint.
you did. Let me just pull it up again, actually, so I can refresh my
I gave
memory.
her like a whole word. A whole word.
You did give us a whole word, and I was trying to guess the second word. Did you put it in your
It's actually
stories?
3
Where is
words.
it? Oh, no, there it is. Another, and I was like, chapter. And I was like, no, that's not gonna work because the letters, there's two things that kind of look like P's, and there's like an E possibly or an F, but that doesn't make sense. You can't put P, F's and P's together. So like, another
Another.
another.
It's actually a 3-word title.
Oh, well, that's rude.
There's a word before another, and then there's a word after another.
Another story after. I don't know. Another heartbreak
is in the
after.
middle.
No, because isn't that another's in the
Mhm.
middle?
There's one before and one after.
So there's one on top and then the blue guy. I guess that's similar to Edge of Unbroken. That's similar to what you
Yeah.
did. But I mean, it was more close together. So Tiny Fractures, Edge of Unbroken, Cliff of Despair.
Another clip of despair.
I'm trying to think of Edge, Tiny,
Well, I guess you'll find out soon.
Fraction. I don't know.
I wanted to go. Originally, when I thought of the book titles, I wanted to do something that would, you know, how you have like the series, and there's like after, ever after, before after, whatever,
Yeah.
and they all kind of like fit together. So I
Mhm.
wanted to stay in that like broken fragments because there's fractures and unbroken, but it didn't work out that way.
Oh, okay. So I was just going, I'm like, okay, what are the words? What are
No,
the words?
nothing
I wonder if
broken.
it's like, it's broken.
Nothing broken.
I wonder if it's like opposite of your two other books? Because your other books are very much broken, fractured. I wonder if this is like repair or like something along those lines.
Yeah, like mended stuff.
I don't think you're going to give me anything, and I don't think you should, because we should keep it for
I
a
agree. There'll
reveal.
be a
But
reveal. I think that what I can safely say is that I think that the title can be interpreted in two different ways, good and bad.
oh,
And
okay.
so people
Yeah,
can do with that what they will.
I love it. That's exciting. I also see if I hit
Oh
this
my God,
microphone
I'm
one more time with my
picking
hat,
mine.
I see another
Yes.
cityscape, so that's exciting, and a sunrise and or a sunset.
Sunrise, right? So staying with the theme
There
because
we
the first
go.
one was a sunset because that's like we're moving
Yep.
into darker territory. Number three, and number two was night, which is like the night because it's heavy. And
Mm-hmm.
then number three is supposed to be the sunrise. Again, do with that what you will. There's lots of symbolism. Lots of symbolism. The whole cover
Cool.
is full of symbolism. There's water in all three of them because water, for those who've
Mm-hmm.
studied like, imagery and film theory, water symbolizes change.
Mm-hmm.
And then so do with the sunrise what you want to do. And then also if you've noticed, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but the first two covers had cracked glass on top. So it's going to be a
Yep.
little
Yep.
bit different for book three. So yeah,
Mm.
lots of symbolism.
That's so exciting.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I have to choose another indie, right?
You have to choose an indie, and then I have to choose an indie.
You know who I'm going to choose?
Who are you gonna choose?
I think Melanie Mars of Stars
Oh,
and Lightning
shut
would
up.
make an
That's what I was gonna
incredible
do.
action movie.
Okay, yeah, I'll
Really?
pick another one. I have so many, but that one, I think.
But literally, all indie books could probably be good TV shows or videos. Like I even think that um, The Stories We Tell by M.D. Blaylock. I think that that would be such a fun little rom-commy movie as well, right? Because there's so many
So
genres,
many.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be, so I've given mine, what would be your other indie? Or did you want me to choose another indie?
No, that's good. I'm like staring at my shelf for indies. I mean, I think I'll go with one of Hannah's books, maybe The Cost of Forgetting You, because I like good trauma.
You do love a good trauma. Would that be a TV show or would that be a one and
I think I
done
would make it
movie?
into a TV show because she has these like flashbacks, and I think you would want to draw that out a little bit. And you could do like two
I
dual
think that
timeline.
yeah, I think that, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I think that when we're talking trad, we can be as vague, generic, explanatory as we want. When we're talking indie, I feel like I have a held allegiance to
Yeah.
the authors that I've read their books or to any other indie authors that I haven't read their books. And I feel bad pinpointing one over
Yes,
another. I
it's
think
hard.
that, every author, I think any literature can be turned into any
I
TV
agree.
show or
Yeah.
any movie. So if you weren't specifically called out on this podcast, just know that I think your book would make an amazing TV show or
Yeah,
movie.
I mean, he limited us, right? He was like,
He
which
did.
book or series?
What singular book?
Yeah.
Well, but now we're fighting Thanos, so
Good job.
he would snap me in half. Okay, so let's see. He had a okay, so here's a long
He
one.
already primed me on this one when we were in Vegas, and he and I got into it about it.
So we'll keep it short and sweet, and maybe we'll end it here for
Good.
today, or else we're gonna have a 2 hour long podcast. But Cliff notes of what he asked was, why does nearly every male of interest have to be over 6 foot tall? And why can't the FMC be taller than the guy? Why is nearly every MMC rich? He'd like to see the reverse of an FMC running her own company,
They
bringing
have
in the
those.
bags. Why are nearly all of the males of the books only have 3% body fat? I'm cutting for the summer and I'm 12% and I want to rip people's faces off. I'm so hangry. Does this play into the expectation of women wanting a man with the 3 6s? 6 foot tall, six pack abs, six-figure salary.
He and I went at it because I'm like, babe, those standards aren't set by women. Okay, that's Figure salary,
No.
that's 6 foot tall, six-pack ab. Like 90% of women are out there married to medium ugly guys. Okay? We don't expect you to be 6 foot tall, six-figure salary, six-pack abs. Would we like it? Sure. Is it going to be a deal breaker? No. I told Thanos, I'm like, it's the same with you guys. You have standards. You want big boobs, nice ass,
Mhm.
tiny little, and like it's the same thing. Just we do it in book formats. We don't film porn.
No. No, exactly. And I think that it also like all the guys in the books are meant to be unrealistic
Yes,
expectation
they're
versions of
the
men,
ideal form, right? As
of someone's
someone's ideal
ideal
form,
form.
like of Western society in general,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if we go, you reread books that are like different cultures,
Mhm.
their ideal woman, man, whatever would look different. This is just westernized. These are kind of the societal expectations, right? And yeah, I mean, even in real life, like most dudes are taller than girls. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Devin and I are pretty much the same height. I think he's got a couple of like maybe an inch or two on me. Like I'm a tall girl. I'm five
Yeah.
seven. I think I've shrunk over the years. I used to be 5'8", but I'm 5'7". And like I think that in my real life, like I don't know, I think that I have a bad taste in my mouth from previous relationships of guys that look
Yeah.
like that. I think there's a negative connotation that comes with guys that look like
The
that.
tall built.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe that's my own personal perception,
And
but
maybe, in reality, I keep thinking about it because I'm like, okay, for a guy, okay, the 6 feet, like your height, you can't do anything about that, right? But the way
no.
you're built, if you're muscular and stuff, to get really that shreddy, like the Zayden type, right? I'm always
Yeah.
like, if you think about it in real life, that's a dude who spends every day multiple hours in the gym, probably flexes with his sweatpants down and his chonies showing in front of the mirror. Like, by
Mhm.
definition, you have to be pretty. Oh God, I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me in trouble. But I feel like if you're truly like that into your aesthetic, you're probably pretty self-absorbed. You have to be. And this is coming from a
Or
gym girl,
insecure.
okay? Like
Yeah.
I'm there. I like the way my body looks when I work out regularly. I
Mhm.
like that. And that's okay, right? I mean, but at some point you're not just doing it for health reasons anymore. You're doing it because you like the way you look. Let's just be real here.
You're doing it. Yeah. Either you like the way you look and you like the attention that you get, or you're extremely
Yes,
insecure.
yes. So,
Because it
and
goes
that's
both
okay.
ways.
That's okay, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, babe, I don't think every woman like because he worries about we talked about this toxic kind of like, are we putting pressure on people to be a certain way? And I think that's true to a certain extent. That doesn't just come from books, that
Mhm.
comes from TV too, right? And women have it
Yeah.
hard, but men have it just as hard. I understand that there is pressure on these guys and younger guys to look a certain way. And so they kill themselves in the gym and they do things that are extremely unhealthy. Like, please don't dry scoop pre-workout. That is so bad for your heart. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, there are just yeah, I get it. I get it. It's the
Well,
ideal
if you
whatever.
I think it's ideal, but it's so interesting because if you talk to people who have played roles in movies like Chris
Yes.
Hemsworth or Chris Stevens, what's his name? Chris Evans. Like people who played those roles where they were super
Ready.
ripped, one of the things that they always say is they hated
Because
prepping
it's so
for that role
unhealthy.
because
Yeah.
it's so unhealthy. You are eating nothing but chicken and rice. You are working out 15 hours a day, and all you want to do is just live your life, and you can't, right? So, like, even the societal expectations for movies are putting people
Physical.
into unhealthy situations just to
I
play a
think
role, right? Because that is what is written on
correct.
paper. And all it
Yeah.
takes is for someone to just write something different on paper for that societal expectation to
Yes,
change.
I agree. I think Zac Efron was the one who like was really open about his role in
Yeah.
Baywatch and how his body, because he was like
Yep.
on what is it called, like diuretics or something that dries out your body so you get like the striations of the muscles and stuff. He's like for months after filming, he suffered like health issues from that stuff. It's bad. I mean, it's unhealthy. You can definitely take that stuff too far. But I mean, it's a tale as old as
Yeah.
time. It's been like that for women. I mean, breaking of ribs so we can do our corsets and have that tiny, tiny waist, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is what we've lived with forever. Beauty's pain, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
unhealthy expectation.
Also, another thing is like, why does every MMC have gray eyes? Never in my life have I met anyone with gray eyes, and I think that that kind of puts the cherry on top of an unrealistic society set
But
stereotype.
I mean, think about it. Do I want to read a romance about a dude who is 190 pounds, 5'6", receding hairline? Like, no. This is again,
No.
this is supposed to be a unique, like the ideal, both for males and females, right? Most
Yes.
of the time. Um, or and if they don't have it physically, because and that's fine too, then they are like emotionally really mature or whatever. Like whatever it
Yeah.
is. That's why we have all these different genres, these different type of kinks, the different types of MMCs. And it was funny because I was talking to Thanos we got into this and I was like, well, my MMC, like he calls himself the runt, right? Like of all his friends, and I have like a
Yeah.
little size comparison and stuff, and he's like, he's 6'2". And I'm like, yeah. And still he's
Yeah.
shorter than all the other, like he calls himself the runt and he's like, my husband's 5'7". So Thanos is like, what the hell? And I'm like, baby, I love you. I think you're
Yeah.
sexy. You're attractive. Like this is just, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it's just I guess with traditional publishing, it's probably a
Maybe
requirement if you're writing something for your man to fit a specific aesthetic.
because we're looking for the ideal fantasy book boyfriend, just like, on the movies, like those girls. I mean, I'm like, nobody, even with the female characters, nobody's gonna want to read about her jiggly butt and the cellulite and the orange skin and the boobs where
Yeah.
one is up here and one is down by the belly button because that's how mine were after I had kids and all of that stuff. Like, you don't,
Hmm.
why? He's like, can't you just write a guy who's 5'7"? I'm like, yeah, I can, but I'm not gonna draw attention to the fact that he's 5'7".
Yeah. I think that also, like, I guess if you were to write stuff like that, people would feel seen, I guess, in a way of like seeing representation of
But here's
themselves
my question.
in
Do we
books.
actually want that, or do we want, when we go into our books, be able to see ourselves in these ideal characters? Like, I want to, when
I
I
think that
read
that's
that,
it.
I want to be badass like Violet or
Yeah.
like Soul in of Stars and Lightning. Like, I want to be that badass.
Yeah.
I want to project my conscience into that fictional character. So I want that fictional character to be bad fucking ass because I know I'm not that badass in real
That's so
life.
true. I know, seriously, like the other day I was walking home and I decided to go to the grocery store in my town and pick up stuff that I wasn't anticipating picking up, so I had to carry it home, like two 4 liters of milk. And I was walking and I was like, oh my God, so uncomfortable, like this hurts so bad. And I'm like, and then you have like Peyton from Reckless who has been stabbed and then she has like an arrow through her upper shoulder and she's streaming blood everywhere and she's dehydrated and she hasn't had water in like 17 days and I'm like I can get home with my
Yeah.
my 8 liters of milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're like it's I guess it just like also if you're in like a situation where you're like this sucks, you're like all these fictional characters have it
Yes.
so much worse.
They definitely do.
And they made it. They're fine. That was another thing that I was going to bring up is like, why is it that with every book, like, let's say, for example, Powerless, why is it that all the females who are ordinary, I'm going to be very specific of the way I say this, so I don't spoil anything, right? So people who are ordinary can go through the craziest situations like having an arrow through their shoulder and their Achilles tendon is like somewhat sliced and they have like a knife mark on their neck and they're just like they just grit their teeth and they power through
Adrenaline?
it. Like no powers, no nothing and it's just like every like FMC that's written that way is like super badass but also like so unrealistic. I'm sorry if I have a arrow in my shoulder just leave me to die. Okay? I'm not going anywhere. I'm not getting up and trudging through a desert.
I'm always like
Sorry.
adrenaline. I mean, I like to think that's why we have these characters, right? I'm like, I like to think that I could power through that. I probably couldn't, but that's why I
Fuck
want to like.
no. Are you kidding me? I get a paper cut. And I'm like, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, but like I think that's why we have these ideals because we want to be able to see. I get it. I get the point with the representation, but I read books to escape them and to be someone else for a
Mm,
moment. And I want
yeah,
to be badass. I just do. I want
I
to be
agree.
desired.
I think you already
I
are
want to
badass.
be I want to be worshipped by the
Mhm.
6'5", 190 pounds of sheer muscle, 3% body fat, like 8-pack, like right? That's why we have the
Yep.
billionaires in there, even though, oh my God, there are a few billionaires in this world, and I can honestly say that I wouldn't want to get with any single one of them. You can take your money and eat it for
Yeah.
dinner. I don't care. Because I can
Wipe your
I
ass
can
with
tell
it.
your personality is shit, and also you
Yep.
are medium ugly and not interested. Personality over
Yep.
everything. Over everything.
100%.
Anyway,
Yeah. And then that's what these characters have. They have it
all of
all.
it.
Like Blackwell is a phantom who can be corporeal or non-corporeal and is my
There
new
you
book
go.
boyfriend.
Why do all the
Okay.
MMCs have to be dragon riders?
Yeah, exactly. Why do they all have to carry big swords and
Why do they all have
Oh
12-inch
my goodness.
schlongs? I'm like, I wouldn't want that in real life.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
No, where are we putting that? No. Where are we it's not here. Sorry.
Guys, it's Editing Tyler here. Just wanted to pop in and let you know the next conversation you're about to hear is not related to the previous. We had to do some editing down, and now we're talking about people just enjoying books for enjoying books, whether that's audio format, digital format, or physical format. So enjoy.
People should enjoy books in whichever way, shape, or form. That's all that matters. Enjoy yourself.
Agreed.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't ultimately matter.
The same exactly. The thing is like whether you read audiobooks or read physical books literally impacts me
Zero.
zero amount. I don't care. And I don't understand why people have such a like what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're so adamant about one or the other and it's like why do
I
you
think it's
care?
just
If you like audiobooks and you want to listen to your books and that works for your life, fan freaking tastic. If you like physical books or e-readers and you want to sit down and you want to
do
read,
that.
fan
I
freaking
think it's because
tastic.
people just always
Yeah.
want to like one up each other. It's always like everybody's seeking validation. And so when somebody's like, oh, I'm not much of a reader, I listen to audiobooks, they want to feel like they're part of the reading crowd. But whatever, who cares? I'm very
Mhm.
much, Tyler, I'm such a live and let live type of person with everything. Everything. You don't come
Mhm.
in my house and hurt me or my family. I don't really care what you do. Just don't hurt each other. That's all I care
Exactly.
about. Just don't hurt each other.
No.
Leave everybody alone. Worry about your own stuff.
Yep.
And don't seek
You
validation.
you probably have 99
Yeah.
problems and whether or not a person listens to a book or reads a
Yeah.
book ain't one.
And what does it matter to you if they say I read an audiobook? Does that hurt you? No, it doesn't take away from your reading experience. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. And then when
Yeah.
people go on the internet with
The
that
book
stuff,
community can be
I'm
so
like,
weird.
why? Why?
Yeah.
But
I think maybe it's because in the book community there really isn't that much to fight
yeah, but
about.
why do we need to? Why can't we just all be happy, rainbow, sunshine, enjoy our books?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's because everything needs some sort of drama. Like if you the like the fitness community is a very dramatic place to be on social media. Yeah, I think the books is just like it's on that like lower end of the
Yeah.
spectrum where I mean, we don't really have much to argue over besides like plots and whether or not we liked a book. Let's just argue about whether or not reading a book or listening to a book is the same thing.
Cares. I do recommend you should try and pick up an audiobook. So for Fourth Wing, there are two versions. There is just the female narrated, and she is amazing. When I first started listening to it, I was like, I don't know if I see that as Violet's voice, but when she gets into like the high adrenaline, like the battle scenes, and even the couple sex scenes with Zane, like you're just like when she goes into the battle, like my heart races because of the way she reads it. It's so animated.
Wow.
Fantastic. But there's also a dramatized adaptation where it's like everybody has a different voice. There are sound effects. Personally, I don't enjoy that. I enjoy the single narration better, but I have friends who rave about the dramatized adaptation, and you can always like download a snippet and see what you like. I recommend it. It's great.
Yeah.
I love an audiobook.
Devin has actually listened to a
Yeah,
lot of
I love an
audiobooks,
audiobook.
like especially with his
Yeah,
work.
I love it.
Yeah, he's listened to like Dave Grohl's
Mhm.
biography. He listened to all
I
of
have
Harry
Harry Potter.
Potter
Yeah.
because apparently it was
Yeah.
on Spotify.
So
Yeah.
the narrator can definitely make or break the book.
Or break.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the people in the Reckless, Powerless series, if I ever got the chance to have my books narrated, both of them would be like on the top of my list.
Really, that's really
They're
cool.
so good.
Yeah, I guess I think I feel like a little bit
Yeah.
scared to listen to a book because I have this like coveted part of me that doesn't want to take away
Yeah.
anything that comes with me sitting
Well,
down
why
and reading a
don't
book.
you, if it's like really a book that you enjoy, like you've read Fourth Wing, then listen to it after
Mhm.
you've read it. Read it and then listen to it.
Yeah, I listen to
Yeah.
podcasts. Like there's this one podcast, We're Here to Help, which is so funny. It's such a good premise for a podcast. I don't know if you've watched The New Girl.
Not really
Jake
my style.
Johnson,
I
he's
don't
the guy
like
who plays
rom-coms
Nick.
very much, so yeah.
Okay. So, but him and Schmidt in the TV show are like
Yeah.
super funny, but he started his own podcast. And the premise is people call in with
Mhm.
problems and they don't give realistic or like actual solutions. They're like buck wild solutions. Like it's so freaking funny. I've had people stop me because like I listen to it when I'm like in line at Costco for gas. I've had somebody knock on my window and be like, "You've been laughing for the last 10 minutes. What are you listening to?" I'm like, "You first of all, you've been watching me for 10 minutes."
That's kind of
Because I'm like
creepy.
sitting there cry laughing. It's so funny.
Kind of
Yeah.
creepy.
It's so funny.
This is
Yeah.
so funny because so you're telling me about this funny podcast that you love to listen to because that matches like your personality. I love that. My
Yeah.
favorite podcast ever, dun dun dun, is trauma based. Obviously, it's called Terrible
Yeah.
Thanks for Asking, and it's oh so good. So it's Nora McNamee. I always mess that up. So she lost her husband to cancer right after I think she gave birth. So she lost her dad and then her husband all like in a span of like a week, and then her son was born or was just before he was born or whatever. Anyway, so she collects all these like traumatic stories from people about, loss and grief and da da da. Like there's one episode where she talks to one of the survivors of, I don't know if you had heard about it a few years ago. There was a mass shooting here in Las Vegas where a guy from one of the hospitals like shot like 400 rounds of ammunition into like a country music festival, killed a bunch of people. So one of the survivors,
From the hotel,
yes, it
right?
was from, I think it was like the Mandalay Bay
Yep.
or something like that. But so
Yeah, it
she
was the
had
Bay. Yeah.
one of the survivors on, and they talk about their stories, but like it's enough levity that you can get through it. But I love, I don't know why I enjoy these heavier things so much. It's just my personality.
hmm
But so that's a great podcast.
I think that it's probably because you've healed a lot from your own
Yeah.
trauma, so you can absorb other trauma but not carry it.
Maybe, yeah. I definitely like writing my books helps me work through a lot of this. So it's very cathartic. I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm just also very drawn to that human side because in the end of it, like we all hurt the same way. We all hurt the same way, which is why I
Mhm.
don't understand why we're doing it to each other on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because you said that you listened to a podcast and you went dun dun dun, and I thought that was the name
Dun.
of the podcast. I was
That
like, that's
is,
a brilliant name.
you know what? That should be a book title. Dun dun dun. Honestly, Tyler, when I thought of this and to do this with you, I didn't think it would be what it is.
Same.
Yeah.
100%. I don't even know what it is, but I didn't think
No,
it'd be
and
this.
this is like great. And I enjoy it so much. And I didn't think, like, when I first hit you up about it, I was like, maybe this was a bad idea. No, total opposite. This gives me so much joy.
100%. It honestly, like, it's so fun to sit down and talk, and it's so funny because we're
Yeah.
such fast friends. Like, we've talked to each other over the last year and a bit, or like, I
Yeah.
say less than a year, but like, even like sitting down and talking with you, I feel like I've known you for so long, but then I'm also learning so much about you at the
Yes.
same time.
Same.
So, yeah, I don't know what this is. But I didn't expect it to be this. I honestly,
Same.
like, I look forward to sitting down and
Same.
recording with
I
you.
feel the same way. I was like, I get the podcast.
Even
And
if we
you know
have
what's
nothing to
weird?
talk
This
about.
is like this. And sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, she's gonna like this is so creepy. But I would go all day and like you're busy, like yesterday, and I haven't gotten a message. I'm like, oh, I miss Tyler. And I'm like waiting for you to send me a message. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I need to chill the fuck out.
So funny because like we send each other
Yes.
good morning messages
Yes.
like almost every day. Like, oh, I hope
Yes.
you're having a good day.
I'm like, this is stupid.
It's so much more than a podcast. It's so much more than two girlies sitting
Yeah.
down doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps too because everything just feels so natural and it flows so easily.
Which is perfect. We're just
Yeah.
vibing.
But I hope that you guys
Joy.
enjoyed this long ass episode of us just talking about random
The most
stuff.
random.
It was so
It
much
was.
fun though. It's honestly like I've always said I'd love to have a podcast because I could talk forever. And I'm glad I have somebody to talk to. And also I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it.
It's good
So,
times. We are gonna have some real guests on again very, very soon.
it was so
It
much
was.
fun though. It's honestly like I've always said I'd love to have a podcast because I could talk forever. And I'm glad I have somebody to talk to. And also I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it.
It's good
So,
times. We are gonna have some real guests on again very, very soon. Very soon.
who's our next
I
guest?
think our next guest is Melanie. Melanie's first of Stars and Lightning. That should be a
Melanie
good
Lamar.
episode. Oh my gosh, I'm excited to talk to her.
Yeah. Very excited to talk with her. That'll be recorded on the 14th. That will be out on the 17th, I'm pretty sure. Because we're recording on a Saturday,
18th.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 18th. I'm good at math. So we will be sitting down with the Melanie Marr, which is very exciting. If you guys have not read Of Stars and Lightning, this is your countdown. Because we're going to have her on and we're going to be asking questions, and I don't want you guys to be spoiled.
Spoiled by us.
But it is such a good read.
Spoiled
you
by
say?
us, but not by the book.
Spoiled by us. We'll work very hard not to spoil anything because I really want you guys to read it. But yes, I'm very excited for that. We have 13 guests lined up, something
many,
around
and
there.
Good ones. Authors,
Good.
book clubbers, bookstagrammers. We have a narrator.
An editor. We've got everything coming down the pipeline, guys. So we know that these kind of last two episodes have been a little bit of
Yeah.
fillers. We wanted to give you guys something to listen to and hang out with, but trust me, the content is coming
It's
full
coming.
force. And we are set. We are set with guests well into
We are.
August. So trust. We have some really good things
Yes.
coming for you guys.
All right.
Okay. Well,
I'll text you right
Huh?
after.
we say that at the end of every podcast. I'm editing that out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. And I hope that you guys are having a good one, enjoying your week, and you will be hearing from us
Very
very
shortly.
shortly.
Bye, guys.
Guys, Editing Tyler here. Just wanted to let you know that this discussion you're about to hear is actually post-podcast. JV and I were talking about our editing, and this is where Editing Tyler comes to life. I hope you're ready.
Yes, and it's smart to get that in here now because I can
Yes.
move that around. instead of me being like, "Hi, Tyler here, editing Tyler here, just
All by
making
myself.
because it's video and audio, right?
Yeah, I just editing Tyler here just all by myself. Just even the intro for this podcast episode. We are going to be talking about nothing and everything all
Okay,
at
can you
once.
please use that?
Use that as what?
Use that what you just did. Editing Tyler in that voice.
Every time editing Tyler comes in, she's going to sound like this.
That should be a voiceover. Oh my god, my cheeks hurt.
I could be a narrator
Oh,
with that
the
shit.
spicy scenes should be good.
And then she unsheathed his length and
Okay. We need to
Okay.
go.
She unsheathed his like. You know, why do we use terms like that anyways? All right. Are we getting off?
I think we're
Let's get
getting
off.
off. Yep. I think we're just gonna have to accept that that is just what JB says.